good spot. By the way, if you want to make the case, Monty, which no one thinks you can make, that like maybe Chovy is the best player ever. Here's what people aren't thinking about. Think how dominant Gen G is right now. Like if we held the finals today, Gen G just beats T1 if it's even T1 in the final,
them.
right? Well, here's what they're not thinking about, Monty. What the fuck are they going to say if Chovy, and it'll only be Chovy because remember all the other rosters were different. What if Chovy wins 5 LCK in a row? In a row. Like, guys, Faker has never come close to that. He's got 10, but that's spread over all that time. 5 in a row is insane. Like, 4 already is the record. Like, 5 is fucking, that's inconceivable, isn't it? Like, that's really impressive. And it's absolutely also plausible right now. Yeah, it's on the table.
It's also with the fact that he, over those titles, is the only player who's remained on this team.
Yep. Exactly. No, so it has to be him. That's my
everybody
point.
Else.
If it had been the same roster, you could say, well, maybe it's the strength of the team. Like, it's just him. He's just the guy, and he is him, as the kids say. He is him. That's why this is where you always don't know I actually am a fair person. Because all I'd have to do if I wanted to absolutely fuck you idiots is when Faker wins Worlds, I could join your side and accelerate it and go, he is the GOAT right now, Monty. Oh, but wait, did he lose to Chovy right now? Well, if he's the GOAT and Chovy beat him, then Chovy must be the GOAT. I could do that. I could do the same bullshit you all do, but I don't play the shell game, as it were. Herman S. I keep it legit.
I think when you look at Chovy and like, okay, you might say, well, Lehens was on the first title and then now he's back for the 4th title and possibly 5th title, right?
It was a different lens to me, though. He's developed
it was.
Over the years.
And also it was a different team dynamic because in that era, it wasn't Lehens and Chovy doing the shot calling. It was Peanut, right? And having Ruler was huge on that team. And then over time, like, it wasn't just, hey, Chovy's good in terms of his laning or in terms of his mechanics or his champion bullets. Now he's a leader and the primary voice on this team as well. So it just kind of keeps getting better and better, right? And I think
I've got a point. I think, actually subtle that people will miss as well, Monty. I think, actually, we've been incredibly fair with people like Chovy and Knight. We actually have made them earn it before we gave them the ultimate status, Monty. You know, in games like CS, people hate on me because they think I'm being horrible to, like, Zemu because I don't say he's as good as Prime Simple. No, it's because I actually know he isn't. Like, I know there's still a level he could go to where he could become the greatest player of all time. So I think we've actually been very reasonable. If you go back and watch this show, dude, even like 2 years ago, we're mad. In 2022, we're still mega critical of people like Chovy when they have their moments when they don't perform internationally. They fall in the final, or the worst, obviously, I remember, but dude, back in the day, some of his problems were obvious. He didn't communicate. He just played like it was solo queue. We've been very reasonable how we've tracked this player. The point is, though, now is the time. I agree with the point of this segment. Now is the time to give him his flowers, though. He is the dominant player, winning all the time, and the eye test checks out like a motherfucker in the server, guys. Really,
it's the eye test and what we know is going on behind the scenes with moving Peanut off this roster, right? Because that void had to be filled, and it has been filled by some combination of Chovy and Lehens. And both of them were on a previous iteration of this roster where they didn't have to do that role. So I think I mean, I'm sure Canyon helps as well, but from what I understand, just talking to people at Gen G, that's just kind of how this team is operating at the moment.
Also, I've actually contacted Arnold from Gen G. I shouldn't say this now, but I figure whatever, the info's out there. And he's agreed that later in the season, when they're really, really dominant, just before the end of the season, they're going to actually take Chovy out and put in Porby. And when they lose the game really badly and Chovy comes back to win Worlds, then Chovy's the GOAT. So we've arranged it all. That's how it works now in League of Legends.
He's going to trade for Porby.
Yeah. The old approach was silly, Monty. Chovy could have just stayed in the game and been the best ever and been hailed it. But what you have to do is put Porby in, make the team a lot worse, and then it's the difference between the Porby team and your team with your guy. That's what gauges GOATness. So, you know, like Rookie and Knight, those players I overhyped, never even been replaced by Porby, so can't be the greatest. So, jokes on me. They just stayed playing. Jokes on me. You know, the one that does tilt me about that, Monty, because I hate when people just rewrite history, is the worst thing about that narrative is you remember the weeks before Faker went out. He himself was shit back then. I know he got injury, but he was pretty bad those weeks before they replaced him with Porby. They act like he was prime Faker, got replaced, they were terrible, then he came back and they won it. It's like, no, fuck off. Like, he himself was in really bad shape that summer. Maybe partially because of whatever injury was developing, but he was pretty shit himself, guys. And that was a bad team at that time. That's actually why, if anything, here's the joke, Monty. Do you want to know why I do give him props? Well, I don't believe fucking Bengi was the coach, so I believe he did coach his team back and to be really good. I'll give Faker that props. I think he might get extra props for that aspect. He seemingly was the secret coach, wasn't he? So I could believe he helped refigure things and stuff. You can give him that credit. Doesn't have anything to do with the game, though, does it? That's the coach credit. There you go.
So yeah, just a fun topic, something to chew on as we look forward to the rest of the year and think about Gen G's level of dominance.
It's one of those topics where it's why, if you remember, Monty, dude, I did a great job with it last year. I set up right around MSI that if someone wins it, you got to look for the Grand Slam, because that's the sort of thing where you don't want to wait until it happens or doesn't. You want to sort of start thinking about the concept, what would it mean, and then then you look, and then obviously it didn't happen, but it means if it ever does happen, it's going to be super exciting, because we'll have all followed like the road to the Slam, as it were, or the fucking golden path or whatever you want to call it.
Yep. Yeah, it's good. I'm excited. I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen this year. Again, we'll see what the meta shift.
I think this is the best chance I've ever seen, because the difference is, like you say before, it's really those BLG series at MSI. If BLG had like totally pushed Gen G to the absolute limit, then I'd be like, whoa, it's wide open. But right now, it does feel like if Gen G sort of hold serve, they can do it. You know.
I would also say that BLG's current form, while still very good, and they're still an elite team in the world, like Knight has not looked as good recently.
Oh no,
as he did earlier this year. So that's concerning, because Knight also did not. I mean, I think Chovy pretty definitively showed that he's better than Knight at the moment at MSI, and he definitely checks out again, but via the eye test right now, comparing those two players. But it's so early in the LPL season; these matches are so low stakes. Basically BLG's already qualified for Group A, and these teams are just beating up on the shitters for the most part in this preliminary, like in the the summer placements is what they're called.
Yeah.
So I'm not reading too much into it at the moment. I can't imagine that BLG is at their most motivated right now.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.